Hello, welcome to Just Chat. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm Ebony Monique.
And I'm Nneka.
And there's a few things that are trending online, locally, that are of dire issues that we should actually talk about. But before we do that, I just have to just throw a little shade in because something just happened to you that I think we should kind of like talk about for a second. So you were trying to make an appointment to get your hair done because by us being African American entrepreneurial women, we like to support those alike. And so you're making it your business to support a young lady who does braids. Okay.
So I wanted my hair braided and looking into tree braids. Never had tree braids before. And
now, what are tree braids?
So that was part of my inquiry, right? What exactly are tree braids? How do they work? So I've done the micros, and I think tree braids are very similar to micros.
Okay.
Nonetheless, saw a picture, liked the picture, reached out to the stylist, and I got a phone call back, or not a phone call, but a text message back to say, first of all, when I called, the voicemail said, if you're calling to make an appointment, text me the day and time that you would like to come. And so before I could hang up from my call, I was listening to the message, a text message came through, and it was the stylist who said, can I help you? So I said, well, yeah, but I'm driving, because I was driving. And so she texted back and said, when you're not driving, give me a call or text me back. So I'm like, oh wow. So when I stopped driving, I texted her back to say, I was just inquiring about the service. I wanted tree braids, and is there a better time to call for a more personal discussion?
Right.
Because I had quite a few inquiries that I thought was overwhelming and exhausting to leave a text message.
To text a 15-page,
And as we went on, the answer was pretty much no. Anything that you want to know, we can text pretty much. And there was just this, going back and forth correspondence via text about, the fact that, this is how she does business via text, and that she reserves.
She said that.
She said that. She reserves her phone calls for personal family emergencies only. And
so she texts business, and she only talks to family members if there's an emergency.
If there's an emergency is what the text message said. So then I, said, okay, sure, fine. This 21st century, I'm thinking she's probably a millennial,
And she kept giving her chance after chance.
So I said, okay, perhaps you would be amenable to a face-to-face consultation. I'm willing to travel. I would pay for the consultation.
Because you want to support her.
I want to support. I'm trying to, I'm flexible, And so she texted me back and said, I don't do consultations.
Of course not.
And so
she saved her personal time for family events.
And so she referred me to her website and said that, if there were any questions, and pretty much anything I wanted to know about the business, was on the website. And, I text back, I understand, thank you for your time, because for me, before I invest my time and money, I just needed to know if this service was going to be the best fit for me. What's the care for the hair? Can I shampoo the hair? Like, I don't want to sit for 5 hours and pay $200 if I can't shampoo my hair and curl it again. So I'm just trying to get the details and
then her not knowing that she's actually talking to another businesswoman. You just never know.
So
funny.
I said, hey, I get it. So then she even added, to that the type of customer that I am, I'm in her minority pretty much, She said
3%, right?
3%. And so, this system is working for her, and that if she in fact were to get a receptionist, that she would have to increase her prices. You know, so this text back and forth thing is just what she does. Is working. She stays busy. She has clients. And the personal discussion, consultation, you know, responding to inquiries about, you know, the care or level of care, no, she doesn't do it. And, you know, so, you know, my advice to her, of course, was that, you know, she should, in fact, invest in herself and her business and get that assistant. You know, because I would pay twice as much as what she's charging if the customer service was there. In addition to, her work is beautiful. You know, in addition to the you know, the style and the care, and, you know, if the customer service was there, I would have gave her twice as much of what she's asking.
Right.
So, you know, invest in yourself, invest in your business, build your team. You know, these one-man shows, you know, black people thinking you can do all of it by yourself is just crazy to me.
And now you done pushed away someone of your caliber as far as a customer who would, I'm sure, left a pretty good tip to her, been a repeat customer, and then would have referred her.
Oh yeah, referral.
Because
spread the word.
We know a lot of people. We're pretty popular. So, you know, I'm just saying. So, she would have got more business from.
It's just,
and she just threw it away.
It's thrown away. So
now it's going to be the opposite effect, because now we're going to tell people not to go to her.
Right. And then,
I mean, honestly, we are.
And it's so easy the way that happens. You know, you get so much, you know, and we try not to do that. Especially, I'm very conscious of it as a black business owner. Like, I want to be supportive of each other. But, you know, you have to be, and I gave her all of this feedback via text, you know, and I let her know in the text, no shade, you know.
Who got that much thumb strength?
Right. You know, but you have to, you know, as entrepreneurs, as black businesses, you have to be open to the feedback. You know, you have to know when you need to step your game up, or when you need to make those adjustments. And we as business owners have to be receptive to it. And it's not, you know, it's just part of the game. So, but I get the whole concept of, you know, all money ain't good money. So if something's not working for you, but when you talk about customer service
and how rude she was,
we always get a bad, you know. And
that brings me to my point as to, you know, with everything that's going on, we can actually get into this right now with the terrible shootings that we've had, you know, last week, and then, you know, from Philando, Castile, Alton Sterling, and then the Dallas police shooting.
Yes.
You know, there are so many movements, or, you know, potential movements that people are trying to start on social media about, you know, let's boycott, you know, white companies and support our own, and so forth and so forth. And that was always the struggle I had before I became an entrepreneur, is that I was one who will always go, and I would say it to the white companies, because when I did put my support into those black companies, something always happened where things were done wrong, things were rigged, or bad customer service, as you just witnessed before you even became a customer, you know. So, but now, being one, I see how we need to shape each other so we can get that support from, you know, our own. And so, it's just really so unfortunate that that has happened, but that happens a lot. And a lot of people do say, you know, it's hard for me to go and support, because if I go to get my nails done, you know, I'd rather go to, you know, the Asians or whatever, because I'm in and I'm out. I go to the black salon, I'm there for 6 to 8 hours, you know, my nails not lasting as long as they should, or there's bad customer service and so forth. So, you know, I guess a question I want to pose to you all is, like, what can we do to make us more supportable? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Supportable?
Maybe not.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
We get the gist.
Yeah, I got several degrees in English, but I know it's a word somewhere. It'll be one. It might be a word. It might be. We'll Google. But you know what I mean, though. You know, what can we do to make it where it's not like where we're constantly campaigning for us to support each other, where it's a natural, you know, reaction.
I think one of the challenges as business owners, especially black business owners, is that we don't always recognize the notion that we need support. right? And when I say support, I'm talking about business development support.
Oh, yes.
Right. You
can't do everything on your own.
You cannot do it all on your own. And you don't know all of the pathways to navigate. You don't know all of the relationships that need to be built and managed and sustained in order for you to really, thrive as a business. And there really are some great organizations out there that kind of put you in the midst of those sorts of networks and support systems. And I'm looking forward to bringing some of them on to so that our viewers can know and see and understand how to get access to business development resources, because there's a whole lot out there for small businesses. But when you don't know any better, or you don't think that there's a problem, or you don't think that you need to develop in that way, then that's when we run into issues as business owners, because you just stay stagnant, you stay in that mindset that keeps you from growing and building. And you business, especially in the 21st century, I mean, with technology being integrated into businesses, and it's just it's no excuse.
It is really not.
To.
And then even, you have to understand too about communication. Now, you make fun of me too because I'm a big texter. And everyone who knows me, knows that I hate talking on the phone. I hate it. But when it comes to business, you have to. But it seems that there needs to be some type of development program that will teach our younger owners that, about social media is great for advertising and marketing and all that, but you still need that personal touch.
Face to face.
You still need
people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. I mean, that's one of the number one rules.
Yep.
I don't care what business program you take, what class you sit in. If people don't know, like, and trust you, they're not going to do business with you. Whether it's a residential customer, whether it's business to business, whether it's the government, people don't do business with strangers.
No.
And part of developing that relationship is having those personal discussions. I mean, I get that, sometimes people do business and they're miles apart, but there's Skype, there's FaceTime. There are ways that people can still be personally engaged, and texting all the time about everything is crazy.
It is crazy. So let's move on to this very serious subject about this whole Black Lives Matter movement in regard to, we have the convention coming up here in Cleveland, Ohio, the RNC, and it's coming right on the heels of what's going on in the country regarding, like we just said, the Alton Sterling and the Philando Castile shooting, and then the Dallas shootings. So what is your take on how everything is about to transpire? Because now they're saying the new Black Panther Party, is coming here to protest. The local chapter of the Black Lives Matter, they have a protest scheduled for the 16th, which is next week.
Yeah, next week.
So
I just, my heart goes out to all the families who have lost loved ones, whether it be by the hands of the police or the police themselves. But I'm kind of, it's bittersweet, because I'm excited that, Cleveland may be finally gaining some traction in this movement, because I think it's important locally. But I'm nervous at the same time. I'm nervous. Like, I want to go and be a part of the crowd. I have traditionally participated in the protests. I was down there when they did the Trayvon Martin March. So I traditionally try and participate in things like that because I'm a mother of sons, and I know what it's like to send your baby out into the world and wonder whether or not he's going to come back. Same thing with my husband, my brothers, and even us, now, right? Like, women are now fair game in this.
I mean, with Sandra Bland, and it's, I've never, until maybe the last year or two, I've never been one to ride past a police and tense up.
Right.
When you see a police car ride past you or behind you, on the side of you or whatever, I'm tensing up immediately, like, 10 and 2. I've never rode dirty, so I've never had, a reason to. Well, obviously my color of my skin is dirty.
That's all you need.
You know,
and now it's enough. You know, my sister even she carries she's CCW. She carries a gun. And you know, like I even worry about her. You know, she told me, you know, about incidents where she was stopped by the police and she had to announce to the police officer, as she was trained to do, that, you know, with their hands on the steering wheel so they can see them in plain view, that, you know, I'm licensed to carry, my gun is in the glove compartment, you know, and the police officer says to her, well, you know, I need to see your registration. And she said to the police officer, my registration is in the glove compartment where my gun is.
Right, you get it.
Right. And so, and my sister, and the police officer says to my sister, well, then you leave all of it there. You know? So it's like, you know that there are good police officers out there who are trained to handle these kinds of situations with tact and with, you know, sense. But there are those situations where it's not always the case, you know, depending on the part of the country that you live in or which neighborhood you travel through.
It seems that it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, with the Philando, I mean, who would have thought in Minnesota? Maybe that's just my, you know, thinking, you know,
well, but that was a part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I watched MSNBC and they did the whole breakdown of the map and they showed sort of the demographics of the neighborhood that he was riding in. And so he was riding in a neighborhood that was predominantly white. So he stood out like a sore thumb, which is probably why they were pulled over in the first place.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just, you know, so you go, and you know how it is, right? You travel from your own neighborhood and venture off across the line, and you all of a sudden people don't look like you anymore. Yeah. You know, and it's just, you know, now you got to think about your route, the destination, the way, you know, and it's just sad in the 21st century. It's sad.
And it's heartbreaking because, you know, I'm a mother of a son, and even though he's only 19 months now, I am loathing at the fact that we're going to have that discussion where I have to sit him down and talk to him and tell him how to behave or how to act in certain situations, you know, whereas a white parent don't have that conversation with their white son. You know, so I have to, you know, tell him there's a difference between you and Tommy, or you and, you know, your white friend, because you're black. And that's just really so heartbreaking for me. You know,
it is, and it's
emotional.
No, and that's real because it could be the difference between life and death, right, for your son. And it's the hardest thing to have to go through as a mother, right? To have your child, because Malachi is still very small, and so you haven't even experienced a smidgen of what you will experience, right? So to have your child come home who's school age, right? And they're kids are kids, right? And he sees clearly that his peers are behaving in a certain manner, or, you know, and kids are kids, so maybe they're acting out or they're doing things that they shouldn't.
So yes, the local ministers, local civic leaders, what are you doing? I know you're doing something, but I just need more of a sound. So hopefully we will see that. Yeah. You know, I ain't trying to call y'all out, but I'm just saying, you know, this is a time where we need justice.
Right. Right. And I think part of it is just, you know, because there are probably folks doing, I know I've heard, like, you know, we've heard radio ads for the actual march. I did see there were a couple of pastors who have advertisements for different things. So you see pockets of situations going on. And I think what we're missing is, you know, that sort of cohesive organization here locally. Right. And I'm not sure how those kinds of things come to fruition in other cities. But I think in Cleveland, we're kind of still waiting for that to happen here. Yeah. You know, we're kind of still... which is because we know we have some strong organizations. Our Greek life is strong here in Cleveland. We've got some strong civic organizations.
We really do.
So I think what we're lacking is that organization, that cohesiveness, and just having that organized structure to it. Yeah.
Now, if we're wrong, let us know. As a matter of fact, let us know what you're doing or what you plan on doing on our Facebook page, so we can share it and support it, and, you know, go from there.
I want to take a minute too, just to talk about the two gentlemen who passed away. They, each, the one little boy, did you see the news report when the boy, the boy just cried and cried and cried. The families that are impacted by losing these young men. The girlfriend who was in the car, who had the presence of mind to Facebook Live, okay, the situation.
When you didn't even know what that was.
No,
remember?
I didn't know what Facebook Live is. So wait a minute. So I told Daryl, I'm like, so how you do it? Because he's like, you press the button and you go. That's what you do. Yeah. So I'm like, but when I first watched it, my sister showed it to me, and I'm like, is this real? Is this even real? Like, she was so calm, and it was so out of the box thinking in terms of, for me, I never in a million years would have thought to think in that way and to react in that way. And it was a good thing that she did, because we might be having 2 funerals and not know the story and don't know what happened or any of that. She had her young baby in the back
who
seat.
Saw all of this. The officer shot in the car with a 4-year-old.
How do you shoot in the car with the baby in the back seat for somebody who was non-threatening, did nothing to provoke? It's just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. And the other interesting thing for me is the many, many, many stories that have happened that we don't know about because people didn't Facebook Live or because it didn't make it to social media or mainstream media. I've read about stories that I've dug up, because I got a little, notion from somewhere or the other, and then start doing some research, and boom, there it is. Other people are dying in the same exact way. And when they talked about the numbers on, the news reports for the number of homicides that have taken place at the hands of the police so far this year, from January to June, almost 500 homicides. And the only person that we have speaking out who is an officer is Nakaya Jones.
We've been trying to get on the show, so if you know her, tell her to give us a call.
I'm flabbergasted at,
and she was so powerful, and I was just so happy to see that someone in that, family, she's an officer, so for her to speak out from her own experience, her own perspective, and say, you were wrong.
She's a hero, in my opinion. She's a hero, because what she did, number one, was genuine, and it was heartfelt.
Very heartfelt.
And you because you see the police as this brotherhood, sisterhood, tight, connected. You see that and she rose above that to do what was right, in spite of what her peers and colleagues may think. She didn't think about the kind of trouble that she may have gotten in. What she knew is what we know, is that your child, her son, her black boy came home and showed her that, and she was outraged. Period. And what I know is that even the bravery, right? Because that was a brave thing that she did. We don't know what she may face on her job or in her neighborhood.
She's fine.
Or I'm sure she is. But standing in isolation like that, because that's when you don't have her colleagues aren't standing with her. She don't have
no one else came out and said anything.
No. And so for her to do that in isolation and still want to be a part of the cause and the movement, and just to say enough is enough. She is a shero to me,
And she spoke out. That was with the Alton Sterling situation. That was before Philando happened. So I'm sure that she's really taken it back. But one thing that she said that really stuck out to me was that if you are so threatened as a police officer to work in these black communities, if you're trigger happy or nervous or intimidated by a black person or a black man or how a black man looks or how a black man stands or whatever, then why are you
go somewhere else?
Right? Why are you working in this police force?
Go somewhere else.
Why are you working in East Cleveland? Why are you working in where she's at, Warrensville? Why are you working in a predominantly black
go somewhere else
area?
Go somewhere else.
Why?
It's just, I don't know. It's so many layers to this, right? I mean, and peeling back the onion is not it's not gonna happen overnight. We're not gonna get the answers overnight. People aren't going to be inspired overnight. And when you look back at history and some of the other movements and boycotts, right? We're talking about the boycott. I know one of the things that my husband said was, okay, so we don't go to Target they only want us to do it for a day. Like, I said, well, when they decided to boycott the buses in Montgomery, it ended up lasting for a year. But they didn't start and wake up and say, we ain't doing this for a whole year. It was a little bit at a time. And not everybody was on board when it first happened, right? Some people still got on that bus.
Yeah.
There were some people who said, they crazy, I'm getting on that bus.
Right.
But as time went on, and one day turned into 2 days, and 3 days turned into 4 days, and 20 people who didn't ride turned into 40 people that didn't ride. And before you know it, everybody walked. We have to start somewhere. We can't look at the suggestive moments that people are trying to put forth and say that's nothing.
Yeah.
That
that won't do anything.
Right. No. If that's what we doing, that's what we. I don't care if it's for a day or a week or a month. Like, let's do it. You know what I mean? But we all
y'all
have
gotta
to
let me know, because I went to
page.
Target yesterday.
Well, listen.
And I bought a whole bunch of stuff. Y'all better tell me next time. Man.
You have to pay attention to the and I think that's what too we're missing too. Again, here locally, we're missing that organization.
Yeah.
So that we all are. Is this real? Right? You get these text messages.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff be hope.
Right.
You don't know if it's really happening.
Right.
I think it was one that said, what city was that? Tiffany, do you know? Was it Dallas or where they boycotted? Is that a word too?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm questioning everything now. One of the malls for a day, and they ended up, the stores had to close early.
I saw that. I can't remember what city. I read it too.
Yeah.
I can't remember what city.
I'm like, is this real? Did that really happen?
That really happened. Right. So we got to stay on top of what's really real and what we're really doing, and just share and promote. That's why I'm excited about Just Chat, because it's a space for that. So engage, share.
No judge zone, whatever you feel. And that's why I like. I'm a big fan of Ricky Smiley on the show, because he's like that. Like, you could come on there and say whatever it is, and you can have a nice forum,
right?
Right. About certain things. But listen, so did you watch the Hip Hop Honors?
No, I missed that.
Okay, so the people who introduced the show, or opened up the show, were the national founders of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Okay. I'm
sorry, I forgot their names. It's a woman and a man.
Okay.
But they, opened the show up and everything. And, I'm just going to say this. The show was amazing. It took me back, to the 90s with the music and the female empowerment, the female MCs, Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper, Missy Elliott, and Lil' Kim. But one thing that grind my gear was Lil' Kim. She was, she gave her little speech about the Black Lives Matter movement and how we need to support and everything. But then she turned herself into a white woman. I'm just saying.
What did she think? You think she turned herself? Did she think she turned herself into a white woman?
What else would it be?
I don't know. But yeah, she is.
The show was really good though. It was really, really good. Tiana Taylor performed with a little Kim.
Did Lil' Kim perform?
I'm gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
Tiana Taylor performed.
I like Lil' Kim.
I was a little kid. I was too young to really listen to her. So I used to sneak. But girl, what? Crush a lot? I got a crush on you? Girl, get money? What?
Yeah,
So,
I know, right?
So she came out and she ended up performing.
Mm-hmm.
I wish she would not have.
Oh, that's what I was waiting to hear. Like, how did she do?
No, okay, there was a lot of, elements that just were not right for her performance. It seemed as if she was forgetting her own words, but it was more so with she couldn't breathe.
So who was that did the Biggie
Exactly.
verse? Okay.
And so then she brought out, I'm going to get his name right, Rich Homie Quan.
Right.
Okay. So
He didn't know the Biggie verse. They played that.
He knew the first 6 words
and was done.
and then got those wrong.
And she stepped in for him.
She stepped in for him, but then she was still out of breath from her previous verse. So it was just all bad.
It was bad.
I mean, it was a whole bunch of put your hands in the air. It was that kind of thing. And one of my favorite songs.
She seemed like she was trying to save him, though.
She did,
he murdered him. It was awful.
No pun intended, but yeah, he did murder Biggie's song, and I felt it was just really it was horrible. I was embarrassed for him, but he did release an apology.
Did he?
He said he was sorry. Oh, I'm sure his
Somebody
PR.
made him do that.
And then little Kim.
He probably got hemmed up somewhere. Like you done lost
But
man.
Diddy was there.
Yeah.
Puffy was there.
Yeah.
So and Faith was there. Puffy, Faith, all the bad boys, right?
What?
Hazed them up real quick. So it was and then little Kim, released on her Instagram that she forgave him. It was okay, it was,
It happens.
It happened.
Maybe he was nervous. Rich Homie Quan. Is that the one that just got out of jail? No,
girl, I don't know. This new
Gucci.
rapper.
Didn't Gucci?
Oh yeah, Gucci like a whole
Didn't
other
he
person.
just get out? Okay.
He looked like a whole different person. I don't think that's the real Gucci man.
They said
you see him?
Yeah, listen, I don't know what he looked like beforehand, right?
He was like really like a big guy. Big guy, right?
That's what they told me.
He was a big guy.
He's gonna have a show coming out.
What?
A reality show.
About what?
I don't know.
Being Gucci?
Yep.
Gucci? Okay, well, whatever. I probably will watch it anyway. So I watch, ratchet stuff like that. But anyway, the end of the show was what really brought me to my feet was when, the Queen ended the show, and she brought out all the female MCs and rappers from like the 80s, 90s.
Eve there?
So Eve hosted it.
Okay.
And she also performed.
Okay.
But she had it was, of course, MC Light, Rage, the Brat, Yo-Yo, Boss. I was like, where did they find her? From what rock?
Yes.
Boss, Moni Love.
I
mean, I was just like, please go to the studio tonight and make an album. We need y'all back.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. They don't know that special. They don't know that special. They don't know it. They don't know it. They too young. But it was just a really good show. I mean, the format was kind of quirky, but it was a really good show.
Oh, nice.
I was happy to see it. Yeah. All right, so let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So, something that has just developed over the last 24 to 40 hours on the political field. Bernie Sanders, although he's not ending his campaign race, he has decided to endorse Hillary Clinton.
Right, which means that his campaign
is that
to an end.
I mean, but he's like, I'm still gonna. It's really weird. But so, what does that really mean for Hillary?
Well, I think it's a great thing for Hillary that she has his support, especially for the younger demographic. Bernie has really been phenomenal with being able to win them over. And so,
he marched with MLK. So he's very active on.
And I think a lot of his policy around the whole notion of higher education and the loans. And,
that won me over there.
So he seems to he seems to have been ahead in all of the polls with respect to that demographic. And so the I think the hope for Hillary's campaign is that Bernie will help to boost her her numbers up in that area. So and I've been secretly hoping for a Hillary Bernie
me too. Let me
ticket.
tell you. Well, I think it came out a few weeks back that he said that he wouldn't be her VP. Am I right?
I'm not
I
sure.
think I heard something about that. I'm hoping that's a reconsideration now because first of all, it'd be a smart move for Hillary. Like you said, she was lacking where he was gaining.
Right.
So that will, bring those people over.
Right.
But I just think that would be an awesome
ticket.
Yeah.
And then I also read somewhere that folks are urging Kasich to still try and run from the floor or whatever. So and a couple of other people. I think Ted Cruz. And, a couple.
Well, they made up. It's so stupid.
I don't know. It's just so wacky that I'm wondering if they get to the convention and we find that there's a contested situation. Or will they just let...
That's funny you said that because I have a little, I have feelings and stuff, right? So I have a feeling that something is going to take place, that they're behind doors trying to put together and do.
Well, I guess we have to stay tuned and see what happens. And of course we'll be following all of the local coverage in terms of the the marches and the protests and all of the things that are going to be taking place around the city as a result of the RNC. But everybody seems to be really excited. I know I was watching the news this morning and they had the chair of the host committee on the news talking about all of the plans that are taking place behind the scenes and all of the effort that has gone into being able to really pull this thing off, from security to landscaping to
and the new public square. Have you been down there yet? It's amazing.
They even talked about the hotels that are that were sort of the catalyst. The new hotels, the Hilton and a couple of other ones that were the catalyst to have Cleveland be even in position to be able to ultimately be the host for the RNC. So it's kind of been I think a real good situation for the city overall, and I'm hoping that everything goes well.
I'm a little sad because I know a lot of restaurants have came out and said that they're pulling out. They're going to close. They don't want to be surrounded with all that violence that could potentially take place.
Right, and so because initially everybody was staying open to 4 in the morning, and you won't be able to drink.
Great economic opportunity, So and now,
well, it just speaks to the level of seriousness that it's not just us who are concerned about whether or not we should be there, right? And that's it's a real thing. It's a real thing. People losing lives at marches is unfortunately a real thing in our day and age, and so everybody's weighing how they should approach it.
Well, I'm excited now that Bernie has endorsed Hillary. I'm a huge Bernie Sanders fan.
I like Bernie.
I like Hillary too, but I'm really a Bernie Sanders. And I like Bill. Bill my guy. Bill Clinton. So I'm glad if they win and he'll be back in the in the White House.
Ultimately happen. Well, I don't know, because Hillary seemed to be pretty strong-minded. So I will say that. But I'm still trying to do my due diligence with respect to this election. Just listening and listening more for the issues, and that's hard to do, right? And with all of the media coverage about all of the non-issue related incidents and situations, it's kind of hard to filter through what really when you do your homework and you're trying to listen for who's saying what and what does that mean, because they said it's just kind of hard because you hear and see so much about stuff that don't make sense, and I think that's by design too.
Of course.
But so I'm, the jury's still out, and hopefully, as time goes on and these conventions wrap up, we'll have a better idea of what tickets are looking like, and then we can really drill down on hearing from each side in terms of where they stand with things that matter to us.
Right. So another topic, Nneka. that has been all over the internet, in hair salons, in nail shops, even in barber shops, is Ciara and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So the latest, you know, there's a lot of stuff going back and forth with Russell Wilson and baby Future, and then her baby daddy, Big Future, and him having issues with baby Future being around Russell Wilson. It's just a whole big old mess.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they finally got married, Russell and Ciara. And so the other day, she Facebook Live. People in trouble, right? Facebook Live, baby Future calling Russell Wilson Papa, and then he gave him a kiss. So my question to you is, what do you think about that? Because you are in a blended family.
Yes.
It's the perfect question for you. What do you think about that?
I don't know. What I think is that, you know, it's really unfortunate that because they're high profile people, right, that they don't have the luxury of being able to work out these kinds of blended family nuances without everybody watching and looking and making everything seem so much more exacerbated, because these are things that happen in real life with blended families. You know, the daddy mad and don't want, like, that's real. Like, you know, as young mothers and fathers, when you split and there's a child, like, you gotta work things out, and sometimes it ain't always so pretty.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta go through some real bumps and real challenges before you get to an even keel where everybody is, you know, okay and have come to an agreement. And even then, sometimes you have disagreements about what the agreement was.
Right.
So, I mean, that's real.
Yeah.
But because they're celebrities and everybody's watching and looking, they don't really get to have those hiccups, you know, in a sort of, you know, privatized way. And then poor baby, you know, the poor child that's innocent in all of this, and, you know, it's going to be able to look back and have, it's just crazy to me. I think it's crazy.
So, do you think it's wrong or right that he's calling
I think it's okay.
Okay.
I mean, if he is in that child's life in that way, that's his stepdad, and he's caring for him. If the child really feels endeared to him, and he the same with the child, it's a reciprocated relationship. Nobody's forcing you call him, like, you know, it's not that sort of thing. I think it's a good thing. Honestly, you know, you could have a situation where the daddy don't care, who's in the home don't care two, you know, snaps about the baby that's there. Right. So, you know, the fact that he is, you know, holds him in that regard, the child holds him in that regard, I think is a good thing. And I don't think that Future, if he has the relationship with his child, should be intimidated by that at all.
But obviously he is. And so that's a lot of the commentary that's going on social media between, like, fans and people. They're saying, you know, I read one who said, it's ridiculous. No, Ciara, she just doing that on purpose to get to Future. She shouldn't be letting another man or let her child call another man daddy. And that's what I'm saying. My thing is this. Okay, so when it first happened, when they first got together, she was just ending her engagement with Future. It was very, very quick. And, you know, she had her son. He was less than one by then, you know, around him. And I because they're famous people and they're in the limelight, we can comment on their lives. I felt some kind of way about it. I said, I don't know, she would have her son around a man so quick or whatever. But when they started getting serious, and then they got engaged, and now they're married, and then how he just took him on as his own son, you know, and to me, I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? And then the one girl on Facebook, you know, who commented on my page, she said, I have 3 boys, and I would never want my sons to call another woman mom. And to me, I'm like, that's stupid. Because for me, I have a son and I have a husband. But if him and I were to separate and divorce, and then he moved on and married another woman who would who was very caring to my son and treated my son as her own, I would have no problem with him saying, Ma.
Right.
You know, he know I'm mommy. He know I'm the mother. But, you know, I mean, who am I to, you know, be upset or mad about this woman who's treating my son great?
Right.
You know, and so I just think that's just a huge issue with a lot of people who can't move on.
Right. I think that their circumstance has been just, you know, heightened because it's all of it has had to play out in the media.
Right.
And so
and it's no different than regular people, but because they're millionaires and famous people, it's like,
so
okay.
Now not only do you feel some type of way, but now you got eyes, so now you got this image, and you know you don't want people to think and say. You probably, just like you getting feedback about the situation, they are too on their social media pages and in their
y'all blew my page
lives.
Up on that one. Y'all were mad.
You know, so,
like,
I can imagine that that's a really difficult thing to try and to overcome, because it's hard enough when you don't have 50 million people in your ear. It's hard enough when you just got your mama or your sister in your ear.
You know that's not right.
You know, so but now you got millions of people.
And then I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm just going to assume that Future is not really in that child's life. I don't know for sure, but I mean, when you look at Facebook and Instagram and anything, I see more pictures with Russell and Baby. I haven't seen any with Future and his child.
Well, maybe
so I
Future
don't know.
just don't choose to broadcast his child in that way.
Well, he got like 10 other ones anyway, so.
Okay.
No shade, but.
But so are the other kids on the Facebook pages and stuff too?
You know what? I don't know. Let me check. Let me check and see. He got like a lot of baby mamas and stuff too. So
and he may just, maybe he's the kind of entertainer who don't want to share that part of himself with the whole world.
I don't believe that. Not Future.
Future. I'm trying.
Not Future.
I'm just trying to give people
because
because
he's been commenting on, you know, talking really, you know, vulgar things about Ciara.
Yeah, but he also tried to get custody of that.
That was some get back. He ain't really want custody. What about the other 10 kids? You want custody of them? But now you want this one?
You know,
hey, it's shade, but it's real. I'm just saying. And then, you know, one thing.
It's so messy.
It's very messy. And Tiffany and I, our production assistant, we were talking about this earlier. And, you know, she was saying that she was really hoping that Ciara didn't really get, you know, caught up with the whole Future thing, because when they first started talking, they were just talking. Then they got serious and they got engaged. And I was saying, you know, it was actually a good thing that she did mess with him or get with him, because y'all women know it takes that one bad relationship to make you appreciate the good ones. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. You know. And so by her having to go through that with Future, she said, you know what, I'm going to be celibate. I'm going to, you know, do the celibacy thing. And then that way I know that this man, if he's going to agree to this with me, he's going to love me for me. Right. And want me for me. There's no like sexual, you know, tension. Well, probably wasn't tension, but sexual, you know, and, attraction only.
Yeah. Megan did, and her husband did that too.
They did that too. His fine self.
Yeah, he was.
He is cute. He real cute.
Yeah, and they seem to be really happy.
And he was on Ricky Smiley, the show, the morning show. He actually was celibate for 10 years before. He the one that he said, if you want to be with me, you have to be celibate. He probably
encouraged her.
He did.
See, I didn't get that part.
Yeah. You gotta read his book, girl.
Oh.
Yeah, he talked about that. It's called The Wait.
Okay.
And he was celibate for 10 years, and then he met Megan Good, and he was like, hey, I'm celibate. You still want to holler?
Yeah.
And so,
I thought it was awesome, you know, that the two of them did that. But,
you ever been celibate?
No.
You ever been celibate? You never on purpose?
I really admire.
I did the celibacy thing.
Did you?
Yeah, like probably about 3 years before I met.
For 3 years?
No.
Okay.
No.
3 years
before I met
so
my
how
husband.
long were you celibate?
It lasted for about 120 days.
Okay, that's good. Was was that? 3, 4
I'm just playing, Mom. I'm still a virgin.
Yeah.
Well, you know, around that time is when the whole Steve Harvey book came out.
Oh,
You know, and so I was really on it. Like, I'm gonna, make sure,
The movie was great.
Yeah.
It came on the other day.
It did. So that's what's going on with them. I'm just hoping that everything can kind of calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ciara looks super happy, seems super happy. I like them together.
And that's the important thing.
It is the important thing. And then I'm sure they're going to have babies because I'm sure their wedding night was explosive.
Right.
I'm sure she's probably pregnant right now.
I know, right? Like, how does that work? Yeah, but that's probably fun, exploring and learning each other and figuring out who like what and who don't like what.
Yeah.
Because you can't go back.
You can't go
you
back.
Just
That's what
fix
I
it.
always wonder, like, nah, I ain't gonna put my business out there.
Right.
Like that. Never mind. I was gonna ask.
And on that note,
We're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So last week we did a show where we actually went to the rehearsal of a local stage play written, directed, and produced by Jen Williams, and it's called In My Mind.
Yes.
And so we told you all that if you shared the episode on your Facebook page that we would enter you into a raffle to win 2 free tickets. And we got over 40 shares, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Got a lot of views on it and comments. So thank you all for supporting that. And please still support Jen. The show airs, or it's going to be debut next month, August 28th at CSU's main classroom. Go to her website, inmymind2016.com to purchase tickets. However, we do have a winner. Yay for 2 free tickets to the show. And
who's the lucky winner?
His name is
Drum roll.
Andrew. No, I got that wrong. I'm sorry, Andrew Lloyd.
Okay.
All right.
Andrew.
So we will be contacting you to get your tickets to you, and thank you again for supporting. So before we end the show, I have to tell you something.
Okay.
Did you hear about Netflix, girl?
What about Netflix?
Do you have Netflix?
I do.
Do you share your password?
I think I have shared my password.
Well, girl, you about to get locked up.
What?
It is now a federal crime. Federal, not misdemeanor. Federal crime to share your password.
Why? It's mine.
I
pay for it.
Well.
And they let you have more than one user.
Well,
right?
As far as the device. So
right.
I'm thinking what they're trying to do is count down on the people who are using your password and they're not purchasing. It's like kind of like stealing. So if I
purchase
for
my
you
Netflix for me,
right.
and you give me the ability to add more devices, right?
For you. But if you're giving me your password,
tell me whose devices I can add.
I'm not Netflix. Don't be getting mad at me. I know. I'm just saying that they're probably saying, yes, it's for you. But if you give it to me, your husband, your cousin, your sister, your mama,
so who get the
they didn't pay
me
for
or
it.
them?
Who? You?
Me?
Yeah.
So the person I gave it to is not receiving stolen property.
I don't know. That's a good question. We need a Netflix spokesperson.
Netflix can kick rocks with that.
Yeah, they serious about it though. They real serious about it. Effective July 1st, I think it was.
And so what they gonna do?
Girl, I don't know.
How would they know?
I already think that we being watched anyway. So I'm sure that Netflix got an eye in the sky. That's about to be what.
I'm canceling it.
And then they raised the rate too. I got paid like $12 a month.
Right,
now.
I think so. Me too. Something like that. $12.99. Something like that.
So yeah, stop giving me your password out, girl, because I don't want you to go to jail. I need you to sit here and host Just Chat with me, girl.
The only I give it to my kids, right? Because they might put it on their PlayStation. And,
I think that's different.
Okay. Well,
but if you give it to your mother, who lives somewhere else, and then your sister who lives somewhere else, and your brother, and then your grandma. I mean, yeah, you can't do that.
Whatever.
I ain't trying to go to jail for a password. I'm not gonna make it.
This is all crazy. I think they're having a difficult time having the law catch up with the technology, and so now they're just reaching.
And
it's crazy.
Right, and I think that what they're trying to do is recoup some expenses because like now a lot of series are Netflix only, and so they have to pay those actors and pay all of those fees and stuff, and so they're like, okay, we need to either up our fee again or try to cut down on people, right, who using Netflix and don't have no membership.
Because who's to say that what if I come to your house, right, and visit, and I want to pull up my Netflix on your television or whatever so we can watch a movie?
I'm not a Netflix.
I'm just saying.
You're giving me that eye.
How can you prove that,
They're going to be able to prove something, girl.
They can go ahead on with that one.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are going to be canceling.
Yeah, no.
They already upped the fee.
If there's any, chance that I'm going to go to jail for watching TV, never mind. Y'all can have it.
I'm going to Hulu.
Yeah, it's not that serious. You know what I mean? You can have it, Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with Netflix right now. So I want to tell you that real quick before we get into the show.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. No problem. So I hope you all enjoyed our episode of Just Chat this week. Continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. And then make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Subscribe to the channel, guys. And share.
Yes.
And share your ideas with us. And we want to hear from you. We need people to talk about the movement. So keep us posted on what's happening.
Yes. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Just chat.